There's nothing like getting feedback of you did a good job. And it could be that simple, like love the speech because of this. And it's almost like they're watching you in that moment, but they're paying attention. So that's what's so nice about it also, is that they care. This is the most honest people are going to be at this platform. And what an amazing treat that is, because people hold back. They don't want to give that critical feedback because you're being honest. You're not only saying the things that I'm doing well, but you actually want me to get better, because what is it to you to give me crappy feedback? It's not doing anything for the club, for you. You know, we want to go on and actually get better at whatever the reason why we joined. So I take that feedback and I kind of just like enter it into my brain like, oh, okay. And I use it in reality.
Toast and Tea, where we have all the tea, tips, and stories, here to inspire you. Hosted by Little Norway's Toastmasters. Hi everyone, welcome back to the podcast, Toast and Tea. So in today's episode, I have with us a special guest. This is actually my sister, Sierra Ellis, and Sierra has been a part of our Toastmasters club for a few months now. And she's going to be sharing with us her experience in joining Toastmasters and why she did that. So starting off, Sierra, can you go ahead and tell the audience a little bit more about yourself?
Hi, yes, so my name is Sierra Ellis. Like she said, I am currently in the military. So I've been in for about 11 years now. I have a son who is 4 years old. I'm married, and I enjoy reading, a little bit background about myself, working out, things like that. So just keeping myself busy.
Yeah. Did you mention that you've been enlisted in the military for 11 years?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. I got to work on my active listening skills. So why did you decide to join Toastmasters?
So I remember watching my sister give her speech competition, and I was just amazed because I remember her being so timid when we were growing up, and I was like, wow, this girl has grown into like this person who could say a speech just like that, and it was almost perfect. And I was just so in awe. But also one of the reasons why I joined Toastmasters was my job. I speak a lot within the military and I constantly have to give trainings, briefings, and I just wanted to build that confidence. So that's one of the main reasons why I joined, building confidence while I speak.
That's absolutely why a lot of people join Toastmasters. Is public speaking is just one of the most, they say it's like one of the most number one terrifying things for people to do.
It is. I was going to say, I remember while I was a young airman, I was okay with it because, you know, I would constantly do trainings. And then all of a sudden, I kind of went away from where I was training all the time. You know, I moved into a different position. And when I did one, I spoke in front of somebody, my voice was literally shaking. And I didn't understand why. So,
yeah, we all, when we're in Toastmasters, what's so comforting is that people would tell me, oh, it's totally normal to be nervous. And you're probably going to be nervous every time you get in front of a crowd or in front of an audience. You will always be nervous. But always. They create a safe environment and a supportive environment to the point where you start to understand that it's normal and it's okay. And you get over it faster.
Yes.
So today we're also going to be doing a reaction video. I recorded about 3 minutes of her speech last night. She actually just did a speech last night on level 1's pathways, research, and presenting. And so she's actually completed her pathways just like that. So she joined in February, completed her pathways already. And we're going to be reacting to a portion of her speech and some of the evaluation and feedback she was given as well, and how the feedback she's been given on her table topics and everything that she's done thus far has helped her to improve as well. So going back to building confidence and leadership skills, you were already moving up the ladder in your profession, and you were learning how to get in front of people and talking and be comfortable with yourself there. What do you think Toastmasters adds to that experience?
So redundancy, right? So when you're presenting yourself in front of people, like she said, you get nervous every single time. But if you don't practice, you know, that time where you are in front of people and actually giving something, a type of speech, I think that's what helps so much, is that redundancy constantly, because you build that confidence of, I've done it 4 times now, and every single time you do something, especially public speaking, it's like you get a little bit better. So I love that part.
I absolutely believe in that. When I first joined, after a few speeches, after I got comfortable with talking in front of the audience, I wasn't really comfortable. I was still terrified and very nervous. The repetition gave me so much more courage to know that I could keep doing it.
Yes.
So it wasn't even doing well or being great at giving a speech. It was the repetition. It was the courage to get up that I was feeding off of. And it sounds like you're feeding off of sort of the same experience for yourself. What has your experience been like at Little Norway's Toastmasters thus far?
So it's funny because my sister said one of the great things about being a part of Toastmasters within this area is just the amount of people and their different careers, right? They come from all different type of backgrounds. And I think that's so important because if I had someone who's just like me, it's kind of like, it's relatable, but at the same time, I just love seeing different backgrounds of people at different points of their career and seeing why they actually joined Toastmasters. And they all have different reasons, right? Whether it's for their career, whether it's for them doing things outside. And I love that because I'm like, oh, I never thought about doing it for this reason. And they're at all different levels. We have people like Shantia and David who are amazing speakers, right? And then we have beginners like Allison and Chuck, and just seeing them get comfortable and all the different things that they bring to the club is really amazing.
Now we're going to dive into the reaction video. We're going to be watching a portion of her speech. Before we get started, can you go ahead and tell everyone what your speech was about?
Yes, so one of my modules was on research, so I had to conduct research on something, and I related it to the topic that Bobby had given, and it's basically people, extraordinary people.
Yeah, so what she's talking about is Bobby had a theme for the meeting, and usually every Toastmasters meeting will have a theme, and her theme was, there is no ordinary person.
Yes, and so my person was Kobe Bryant, who I am just... He's a role model. He's been a role model within my life for so long. So it was an easy topic to choose.
So we're not going to be showing the entire video, but you're going to see snippets of it. And let's just go ahead and see her watch herself.
And so for my family, it was almost like losing someone we had grown up with. Losing him on TV, right? He's not there. He's not reachable. Can't watch him anymore. But he knew that his body could no longer do what he once did. And that's what takes us into the mentality of who Kobe Bryant was. Why was he so great? The Mamba mentality. And if you see this picture, you'll see a snake, which is the Mamba. One of the most lethal creatures. Once it sees its prey,
well, I just want to pause it. I love when you said lethal and you made that expression on your face. Like, was that intentional for you? Were you thinking about that?
So sometimes when I talk about things, I have a reaction to it, which is funny because during speeches you're kind of concentrated, but I'll kind of I'm a very expressive person.
Animated.
So, yes.
I was telling her after she did her speech the other night that animation is her strength. Because she's very comfortable with being animated. Some people feel very self-conscious about moving their face and making expressions. I think I tend to be more stoic in my expression.
Definitely.
And it sort of depends. Like, I'm a lot slower to express myself. I like to use my hands or my body sometimes, but she's actually very good with her facial expressions. Yes. I love that.
It attacks and it kills. The mentality is a Mamba mentality. And to him, that was the ability to constantly try to be the best version of yourself. Put in the work. He was 11 years old. It was the summertime. He scored 0 points. 0 points. No free throw. No lucky shot. that entire summer. He was devastated. Can you imagine scoring 0 points?
That was awesome. I think David commented on that too. Did he comment on just in general that?
Yes.
What was his feedback?
So one of David's feedback, and this was before my actual speech. So I was working on vocal clarity, and just changing it up, right? Whenever I am talking about certain things, and I'm like, first, it makes me nervous because I don't know how it's going to come out. Am I too loud? And he said, overdo it, which I thought was, okay, how do I overdo something that I think I've already overdone?
I think what it is also is I think David is very intuitive with giving advice.
Oh, yes,
and I think
definitely.
Sometimes he knows what people can handle. Because he's given me different advice, but I've actually never heard that before. I've never heard overdo vocal variety.
Yes, which I think that relates to what you said and how expressive I am. And so it almost is, like you said, like a hidden talent for me, and it's working on one of my strengths that I have as a speaker. So
You did great.
Thanks. And staying in that story, what Kobe Bryant did from then on is he thought about, he wasn't the greatest, and he wondered why. In order to be great, you have to do what the greats do. Time, effort. So he decided fundamentals is where he's going to start at. He would take the same shot 200 times in one area. Learn how to crisscross. Learn how to dunk, layup. And it was all this stuff that he learned over time.
Stop it right there. Like, where did that come from? I've watched professional speeches, and that's why I was saying I was amazed at what you were able to do last night, because I've watched professional speeches, and that's exactly what the judges are looking for. They're looking for that animation, the tone, the body language was like on point. And I didn't see you practice that. I didn't even see her. She didn't even practice it. She just did it. So like, were you just leaning on your instincts?
So Lucia said something to me the last time when she was giving me feedback, and she was saying how when becoming animated, to kind of shift yourself to where you're telling the story but showing it and acting it out. So I think I was talking about my son, and she's like, oh, if you played like a little kid versus the mom, and just like putting yourself in those different instances. And I thought, what a great idea. And so I kind of took that feedback, and obviously when you see it in this speech, I'm imagining myself telling a story, but I want you to visually see what I'm talking about, because a crossover or a layup, right? Some people know professional sports, some people don't. So I'm actively moving and talking about it. You're kind of like, oh, wow, he was doing a lot. And I wanted you to feel the importance of what he was doing at that moment.
I also want to mention my sister's an athlete. I think this is very important because I'm the opposite. So I'm more comfortable speaking with my hands and maybe just my voice in general. She's actually very comfortable in her body.
Yes.
She's been an athlete since I could remember. So I think that might play into it too.
Yeah, definitely, because I know those movements, and so those are like natural movements to myself. If I said a jump shot, or I'm going to hit a volleyball, I'm automatically going into the form because that's what I've done for all my life.
Yeah, because it takes me back to, I think it was just the most recent Toastmasters international winner. She was a swimmer. She was talking about swimming, and she was very visual with using her body. So I was like, okay, like there must be something there. I didn't even think about it until just now. I'm like, oh, you're an athlete. You're used to being in your body and being very expressive.
Yes, movement.
I move from here up. That's my movement. This is my movement here. This is where it goes. Okay.
And he proved to people that all you have to do is put in the time and effort, and one day you'll be great at it. He tore his Achilles. I remember this game like it was yesterday. He tore his Achilles, and he still wobbled up to go shoot 2 free throws. I can't imagine the pain. I can't even get up once I hit my knee. So can you imagine someone tearing a ligament and then trying to go up and shoot those free throws? Well, the Mamba mentality went into his third chapter, which was being a dad, his creative side. And this is where he was amazing at. He was a girl dad.
I just want to pause it there. I just want to mention your tone changed there.
Yes,
you got softer.
I got definitely.
The pacing slowed down.
Yes. So when I was talking, and you could hear it throughout my speech, but the first portion of Kobe Bryant, that speech is excitement. It's like, I want you to see his career. I want to see who the person he is, what he was doing, how amazing he was. And then once you go to his third chapter, it ends a little, gonna finish a portion of it, but it's a softer side of him, the creative side. And that's not a side that was super exciting to people, but super exciting to him within himself. So that's why my tone got a little softer and I kind of changed into that. What a beautiful way to enter his third chapter of life.
All right, so I'd like to mention that this is her third speech, by the way. She's still a beginner. This is her third speech, and she's already tuning in to all of the skills, and you're receiving the feedback. You're doing such a great job of receiving the feedback, remembering what people are saying for you to work on, so that's great. Sometimes I'm like, is she paying attention? Like, you know how I always look at you, I'm like, are you paying attention? But you always just seem to catch on.
When it comes to feedback?
Yeah. Yes.
So I was telling Shantia the last time I did my speech in person, this is the most honest people are going to be at this platform. And what an amazing treat that is, because people hold back. They don't want to give that critical feedback. So when I get feedback in this environment, it's like I feed on it. I'm like, oh, because you're being honest. You're not only saying the things that I'm doing well, but you actually want me to get better, because what is it to you to give me crappy feedback? It's not doing anything for the club, for you. We want to go on and actually get better at whatever the reason why we joined. So I take that feedback and I kind of just like enter it into my brain like, oh, okay. And I use it in reality. So it's super helpful.
Yeah, I think that's what makes Toastmasters so great. They have already an inbuilt structure, a system for how people can give good evaluations. People know what to look for, and you usually have like the former sheet of the certain things that you're looking for in a speech. Mm-hmm. But it does make a huge difference when the people who are evaluating your speech are forthright, and David is one of the best evaluators.
It's funny because, I've gotten so much good feedback, right? And I take that it's kind of like a confidence booster. I'm like, oh, wow, I did good, better than I thought I did. And my sister admitted to me, whenever I practice my speeches, they're just like, okay. But when it's time for my speech to come on, I'm zoned in. It's like I leap into this different person and take on this different, phase of myself. So I just love that I can do that. And, I receive the good feedback, but also I kind of take in, oh, what did they say last time that I need to improve on? And it implemented that way.
Right. And so Karen Gardner from I think it's the Alieski Toastmasters, but she was our District 32 winner this year. She mentioned that some people thrive off of recognition. Mm-hmm. Some people thrive off of incentives. Yes. So whatever works for your club you have to pay attention to what people thrive off of. I think generally most people like recognition, and that's what Toastmasters is about.
I was going to say, there's nothing like getting feedback of you did a good job. Mm-hmm. And it could be that simple, like love the speech because of this. And it's almost like they're watching you in that moment, but they're paying attention. Mm-hmm. So that's what's so nice about it also, is that they care.
Yes.
He was a girl dad of 4 girls. And this is where he decided to write an animated film called Dear Basketball. It's the story of him playing basketball from 6 years old to his 20-year career and what he fell in love with. He won an Oscar for that animated film. In 2020, Kobe unfortunately lost his life in a crash with his daughter and her teammates. One thing that he left was a mark on this world. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
All right, and so that last part of it, right? Yes. What did you feel was missing from the conclusion or the summary of your speech?
So it's so funny. As soon as I got to the table, I said, I forgot my call to action. But I went over my time, so I kind of had to end it. And so I didn't really give my call to action towards the end, which is important.
Yes, a call to action is just a great way to tie everything in together. Mm-hmm. And it's a great way to include the audience into your speech, because when you're going up and you're giving your speech, you don't just want to be talking at people. You want to be creating a conversation. And the call to action is a way for you to include, how can this speech or this experience, this 5-minute topic, influence you? How can you bring that into your life? So it's like an extension of that dialogue continuing even after the speech is completed. Thank you, Sierra, for being here today. I would like to end it on this topic. What final advice would you like to give to people who are considering joining Toastmasters?
Absolutely do it. You know, what is holding you back? Is it the time? If it's the time, then dedicate at least one day out of the month. Mm-hmm. You know, I do it virtually. So I literally, and the thing is, I've done it virtually for so many months that I'm so comfortable. I wish I could be here in person all the time. Like I was saying, in regards to making time, you could go at least once a month. Try it for a little bit of time. And the thing is, it doesn't really become a commitment until you decide, right? It's not pushed upon you. They love guests. I was going to say that group of people love guests. So come, bring your friends, bring whoever. And the biggest thing about this is you are just improving yourself. Now, I want you to think right now, who is the best speaker that you've heard, not found, right? And just think, wow, how do they do that? Well, Toastmasters can make you similar to that one person that you're thinking of. Like, isn't that incredible to get on that level? And the thing is, you wouldn't think so because you're like, well, I don't have this, I don't have that. There is the modules to help you out in every single way to make you just like that person. And I don't know what's a better selling point than that. And also, how impressive do you think you'll become when you learn how to speak? Speaking is a quality that can lure people in, become convincing. And that's with anything you do in life. Interviews, briefings, speeches, conferences, learning how to speak is essential. I've told people within my job, like, hey, have you thought about Toastmasters? And the thing is, I'm over here advertising as if Little Norway was right down the street. But I'm like, just join any club and then see how it develops you. And if you do not put, and I'm going to say Mamba mentality, but if you do not put the effort in, then you won't see the results. That's simple.
Yes. And I'd like to add to that is Toastmasters is a really solid support system for you. So if you feel like you're having a hard time juggling things in your life and making time, I'm telling you, when you walk into that room and into that space and you share that experience with everyone, you feel that extra support. And I think sometimes when we're just so focused on our lives and we're forgetting to make time for our hobbies or just really just something.
It's an escape.
Some kind of activity, not a full-on escape, some kind of activity where you can just work on yourself.
Yes.
It really enhances your ability to find that balance in your life. So if that's what you feel like you're struggling with, it is actually a really solid support system for you to create balance in your life. All right, Sierra, thank you for joining us for today's podcast.
Thank you.
This was our first live recorded or camera recorded podcast. So thank you for doing that and being part of this experience with me.
Thank you. I would love to come back, and once I do a couple more speeches, give my thoughts and stuff about that, because I'm just gonna get better. Okay.
She's already improving so quickly. It's amazing. All right. Thank you guys. Have a good evening, good day. Bye. See you next time.